We have a few questions in here. Dear Master, is the universal value such as freedom, equality, and democracy challenging to Buddhism? For example, some people say it is the victory of equality for the allowance of same-sex marriage. To what extent do you agree on modern values? Buddhists say it is the karmic debt why one becomes poor financially in modern days. There are calls for financial equality, such as taxing the rich more. You have mentioned a lot of issues in here that requires many hours to talk about. You're talking about financial values and modern value, political values, and it requires a lot of time. But I can just give you a generalizations of your question that you ask. On equality and democracy and freedom, and about karmic debt, that should we just taxing the rich to compensate the poor? And you talk about everyone wants to be equal. But what we have been doing have not been equal. And in the causes of it, you're not being equal, and you want the results to be equal. In other words, some people work harder and some people work not as hard. Some people are lazy, let's be very frank. Some people are lazy, some people are very hardworking. And all these people say, we should have equality, taxing the rich and finance the poor. Well, you want that to be equal, but in the cost of it, you don't want the cost to be equal. Shouldn't we say that everybody should be working as hard? Because if some people work harder, they earn more money, and if some people work being lazy and they work not hard, and they say, no, I want financial equality. But equality must start from the base. You can't have the effect, the results to be equal without working at the equality of the causes. All the students claim to the teacher, everybody, we want to get an A, we want to be equal. But some students are harder than other students. How can they have equality in the grades? Because some are really very lazy. You can only have equality if you start with an equal base, equality based in the causes. You can't have just equality on the top without equality in the foundation. Because everybody is different in their personality, in their characters, in their habits. They cannot expect equality at the enjoyment of the material world. Let's take an example. Why are people richer than the other people? There are many reasons for it. There are reasons for present life, and there are reasons for previous life too. As far as previous life is concerned, according to some sutras, those people who become billionaires, rich, are those people who were very generous before. They always give out. They always give out the compassion, give out their money, they always help the poor, they always try to equalize the economic benefits at the effect level. They have money and they like to share and give it out to other people. And because of this seeking for equality to share with others in previous lives, in other words, being very generous, in this life, they enjoy riches. They become billionaires. So people should not be jealous of billionaires. Oh, these guys make dirty money. These are filthy money. You know, they cultivate all these causes in their previous life that you don't know about. It's just like, for example, people like to donate and some people don't, because they don't think that is important. And we always want to give out. Like, for example, in the lunch, a lot of people give out. Like in the, what do you call, avocado that we have, it's given by a member, prepared by a member. What do you call that? 牛油果係咩? Avocado, right? Did you cover the baking of avocado? It was donated by someone who just kept silent. He just bought the avocado, prepare everything and give it to everybody without saying a word. And imagine, say for example, a lunch. Some people don't just accept it. It's good. Some people ask me, how much is this lunch? This is organic. You can't even buy it for $20. You can't even buy it for the compassion and love that people put in. All the desserts were prepared by that lady who were giving out desserts, and she prepared since this morning. She didn't even say a word, and we didn't even say a word of gratitude for what they have done. A lot of people did all these things without saying anything, but a lot of people just accept and think take it for granted. You see, that's the difference. We talk about equality. Some people practice at a high level. Some people don't even practice at all. But what they expect is equality, equality. We want to be as rich. But they don't know that they cultivated all these causes of being poor. They don't consider giving out. They just want to receive. And they don't know the significance of giving out. But we have people who donate for every lunch in here all the time. And some people just accept it and they say, okay, equality. But at the causes level, aim for equality. Everybody should work hard at it. Everybody should be grateful for what they have received. Because you're being grateful for what you receive, you will be grateful to give out. You see what I mean? Don't consider this as something very simple. Why do I have to donate $50? Why do I have to donate $10? And $10 is as valuable as $50. And it's not the money. It's the attitude. It's the attitude of giving. Because if you're used to giving all the time, you open up your generosity vistas. When you look at things, it's different. Your wisdom starts to build up because you're more generous. You don't feel that this is my money. Why do I have to give it to you? This is $50. I use this $50. Why do I have to give $50 to you? Why do I have to give it out? People are like that, they're always looking for taxing the rich to compensate the poor, but they don't know that maybe the poor are lazy and not working. They don't care. And there's maybe these rich people, they really work 24 hours per day, and they deserve the fruits that they have. So we cannot just look at certain things from one perspective. Equality must start from the causes. Democracy, equality, and freedom freedom traces back not only to this life. Freedom traces back to the previous life. Say, for example, I give you an example. Sometimes it's difficult to judge. It's difficult to have a measuring yardstick to judge this. If the king 600 years ago, 500 years ago, they were persecuting certain people, or if a certain country attacked and occupied a certain country and enslaved all these people. 1,000 years ago, say, for example, where there's a slavery market and all that. And in this life, he became a slave. And all those who were slaves before became the masters because you want to get the balance back. How you treat other people, you got treatment in the same way. So how do you get equality of this freedom? Just by looking at this life. Your time horizon, your dimension is just using this life. You've been persecuting them. You've been enslaving them, and now you are a slave and you say, why did these masters enslave me? It's poor, it's not right. We want to have equality. But equality is to extend the time dimension to the past. And for that reason, there will be a future equality. So, the karma is too complicated to talk about. We cannot just talk about in this life. Sometimes it cannot be explained by that. Democracy, we're striving for democracy, and maybe you are the person who were against democracy before. So it's very complicated in karma. This world is a world of suffering. We were in this world because we're involved with karma. The Buddha said, the Buddha gave us a map to get out from this world. This is a jail, a prison for us. And there's inequalities in the prison because of all the different crimes and different actions that we have performed. Not every convict is the same. The best is to get out. That's real freedom. The freedom you're struggling for in this life is not ultimate. You only have freedom when you're out from the world, not just of this life in a certain country. The perspective must be wider. Get away from this cocoon of the karma world where there are desires. Only by eliminating all our desires do we have complete and ultimate equality. But how can we eliminate all the desires? Look what kind of desires people have. What kind of desires the politicians have, what kind of desires the parents have, the students have, the teachers have. They're all different. We're living in a world where there's a lot to analyze and to talk about, and even that, it takes time to do. Next question. My parents immigrated here 9 months ago from China. Living in my one-bedroom apartment with me, we have lots of disagreement. Now I ask them to go back to China. I feel guilty. What should you do? Well, if you feel guilty, don't ask it. Don't ask them to go back. Why do you get involved in something you're guilty of? In the first place, you want them to come here, and have you considered that different people have different personalities? If you do not build up a tolerance level for your parents, how do you expect to live with your parents? Not only parents and children have argument, wives and husbands. That's what we call divorce. In wife and husbands, if you don't agree with each other, you can get a divorce. In parents, you can disown, but it's regrettable to do it. So I asked that, what should you do? It also depends on if you're always in disagreement. What kind of disagreement? Your parents want to cook your beef rare and you want to well cook, and you call that a disagreement? Or your parents want to drink coffee and you like to drink tea, you call that a disagreement? How can you find anybody who completely agree with what you've been doing, who completely can match your personality? Not even your wife, not even your husband, not even your children. If you don't put up a tolerance level, how can you live with anybody? That's the reason why when you walk into the garden, who do you see at first sight? The big belly Buddha. The big belly Buddha is practicing what? Compassion and tolerance. He's always putting up a smiling face. It does not matter who you are. It does not matter whether you scolded at him, or you hit him, or you criticize him. He always put up a smiling face. He's always feeling happy. He's a public relations manager of our temple. He's always giving a smile. He never gets disgruntled. And that's how you train yourself. Why don't we do it this way? You use this example as a lesson you learned in Buddhism. The big belly Buddha can endure any disagreement and still give the love. Now, if you become successful in accepting your parents, iron out all your grievances, and accept your parents, that means you're learning the Buddha's teaching. You're putting up a high level of endurance. You love your parents in spite of the fact that they disagree with you. You still love them, And I don't think your parents will hate you. I don't think your parents will be so unreasonable as to do I don't know your family, but I can suggest to you that that's a good opportunity that your parents come, that you can learn the difficult task of endurance and tolerance. Don't go anywhere for learning the Buddhist teaching. Learn how to tolerate and endure your parents' disagreement and still learn to love them, live with them. Can you do that? That's a very good lesson to learn. You become the Buddha faster. I won't say tomorrow, but faster, by learning to put up with your parents' agreement, love them, explain it to them, use patience to explain it to them. Don't drive them out. Don't ask them to go back to China because you feel guilty about it. Guilt is a suffering. Throw away the guilty feeling. Just love your parents and continue. And work hard to get a bigger apartment. It's a 1-bedroom. Work harder and explain it to your parents that this is too small a place, but give me the opportunity to work harder so that I can rent or buy a bigger apartment, that you will have a room for yourself. You are living comfortably. Can you work with me so that I can work? I want to take 2 jobs so that I can get more money to rent a bigger apartment. I'm sure your parents would cooperate with you if you gave them love rather than disagreement and hatred and disgruntled and dissatisfaction. Iron all these things out. You'll be a real life Buddha. And always think that your parents give you the opportunity to learn tolerance. A good time to learn tolerance. Don't take that as something tough. Take that as something, this is a good opportunity to learn the Buddhist, to learn the big belly Buddhist tolerance. I can put up with my own parents. If you can put up with the disagreement and all this with your own parents and learn really to widen your scope of your mind, you know who will benefit? It's you. If you can put up with your parents, you can put up with a boss that mistreats you. You can put up with difficulties that you would forsake and leave and let go, and you throw your job away because of certain disagreement. You will learn how to tolerate, not because of living with your parents and learning increasing your tolerance level. You could tolerate any sufferings. I think you should prostrate to your parents and say, "Thank you very much, Mom and Dad, to give me a chance to learn tolerance." Oh yeah, there are people like that. After a certain period, they know that, I learned how to tolerate my parents, and now I'm a free man. I won't feel disgruntled at my boss. I learned how to take my boss' unreasonable criticism, and I still work hard. All these things knit together, all these virtues would give rise to a lot of good things coming up because of your tolerance level that you don't even can dream of. You can't even imagine. This is the time to learn the Buddhist teaching by accepting your parents and increase your tolerance level. So it's good that you raised this question. And I think you learned something today, the person who asked this question. You have a Buddha at home. Learn from them. Tolerate it. Treat them as a Buddha. And the kind of benefits you get is unbelievable in the future. It's like a ripple. You throw a stone in the pond and it ripples out. The effect is multifold. The virtues arising from it. All right, next question. What does the Buddha say about regret? What is the attitude that I need to have towards it? When I say regret, I don't know how you define regret, because it's just a few words. By regret, you think that I haven't done this, so I feel regretful about it. I should have done this, but I haven't done this. I feel regretful about it. Is that the way you define regret? Or you regret that you have, if you regret that you have done something good, or you have regret that you have done something bad, it's different though. I don't know what kind of regret you're talking about. Regret, of course, is not a good thing. If it's something good that you haven't done and you feel regrettable about it, that's good, because you know that you should have done that and you haven't. You feel regret about it, so you would try to make up for it. That's good. But if you feel that something bad and then you have performed something bad and you feel regrettable about it, it's still good because you know that you shouldn't do it again. But don't let this regret linger on for too long. Don't hang on to the regret. Go forward. Don't regret about it. Continue the pace. Okay, next. Master has once taught us how to avoid attachment like a fighter, to avoid attack from opposition. Could you please teach us how to fight back too? Thank you. How to fight back. When I say dodging, when I say weaving, and because you don't get hit, now it's not enough. You want to fight back. Just an example. I'm not advocating violence. As a matter of fact, I shouldn't use that example because you seem to be promoting, boxing. No, when you fight back, the best way to fight back is to build up your strength. And when you fight back, you don't fight back physically at someone. When you fight back, that means you fight the internal monster that you have inside of you. That internal commentator, that internal devil in you. Fight that, not that physical person. You fight that internal demon which induces you to do bad things. How to fight back that? Watch your internal demon. If your internal demon tells you to drink, don't drink. If your internal demon tells you to get relationships with different gender, as much as possible, get enjoyment, don't do that. If your internal demon tells you to steal, to rob, to kill, don't do that. You fight the internal demon. How do you do that? By building up your concentration. When that demon comes up, you watch it. You watch it and say, stay put, don't get to me. Don't get close to me. Don't let that overwhelm you. The best fight is to avoid it. Because when you fight back, you're building up hatred of that demon. That demon is you internally. You just don't be influenced, don't get hit by him. If you don't hit by him, you already have fought back. Because you're not being influenced by him. How pure is human essence if all environments outside stimulus and past experiences are stripped away? What's left? Why do you have to worry about what's left? Don't worry about what's left. If all the environments, the stimulus get stripped away, what's left? Don't worry about what's left. There's nothing left. I presume this should be answered in Cantonese.
No, it's okay.
English is fine. If you, after 1 or 2 minutes, you feel as if someone is pushing you and you're going to fall, there are many reasons for it. One of the many reasons is you had a debtor from previous life, and he's in the spiritual realm, and he's not allowing you to take meditation, because by doing meditation you increase your inner strength that he may have to go away from you. I'm not saying that is the reason. That could be one of the many reasons. That could be. Don't get scared. It could be one of the many reasons. Another is your visualization. You always are frightful of people pushing you, and you always feel that someone is pushing you. If you feel that someone is pushing you, that means you're not on your anapanasati. Your thought should be on here, and not feeling about some people pushing you at the back. If somebody pushes you, just stop that thought. It's just a thought. You thought that you visualize someone is pushing you, then throw that thought away. Break that thought and go back to this anapanasati. Go get that object of attention back. Your object of attention shouldn't be someone pushing you. It should be right here. That's your object of attention. If you feel that you have a big hole in your chest and then you're being sucked into that big hole, that's your visualization, your imagination. Stop that imagination and put back to this thought, because you have not been watching here. We already have told you your object of attention is anapanasati at the nose tip. Why do you put your attention on your chest having a hole and you're being sucked into it? Why do you think about something pushing you? Because you lose your thought. Then you break that thought and get back to this. That's a whole series of breaking the thought, getting back. It's just like that monkey going away. You put it back and stay put. You think about other things. Don't think about that and get back to here. Okay, yes? We have what we call common karma and individual karma. In a certain country, a certain tsunami happened in a certain country, wipe out a lot of families and destroy a lot of buildings and all that, because they have that common karma in there. Now, I know that certain countries build up a lot of bad karma. For example, certain country, I don't want to mention the names, certain country, they specialize in fishing. And you know how they fish the whales? When they fish whales, they use net. And when they net a few whales in, they take them into certain location, and then they start to stab their back, so the blood comes out all over. And when they were being stabbed at the back, the whales, they yell out because it was painful. And when the whales yell out in the sea, many, many miles away, all their relatives and friends, whales, could listen. And whales are group animals. They like to come to help and see what's going on. So the fishermen of this country, or the government even of this country, did not ban anything like that. They allow these fishermen to use the compassion of the whales to attract their companion so that they can catch even their companions. That's how they catch whales. So all these thousands of whales swam over to see what happened to their relatives and friends, and they got caught. And some countries like to persecute and occupy other countries. They wage wars in other countries. And for example, China was being attacked in the Second World War, and millions and millions of civilians were killed. And all these soldiers built up karma, common karma. If they was from a certain country, that common karma in that country happened to be so strong, the tsunami will happen to that country. That's common karma. And fortunately, in Canada, we didn't have any common karma like that so far. And it seems that we're enjoying many common karmas. Like we have hospitals, we have the same supermarket you went to, we have enjoyed the same thing, because our common karma is also in the enjoyment of it other than the suffering of it. There's common karma and individual karma. In common karma, there is also individual karma. In other words, in a tsunami, some people may not be killed. Some people may get away from a tsunami. They were to travel to a different country, or they were somewhere else where tsunami didn't happen to them. So there's individual karma within common karma.